it's me Harley, back at it again for yet another video, and as you can see today I have really put the effort into making myself look like, well, a cosplayer, because why not? Another reason why I'm dressed like this is because essentially this is going to be a little bit of a part 2 to my theory that the second season of Black Butler wasn't entirely just filler, and instead was actually hinting and giving clues to what was going to happen and what is happening in the manga. So if you haven't read the manga, this will have spoilers, let's put it that way. So either be prepared to get spoiled or turn off the video, this one isn't for you. Just a heads up, you can watch this video without having watched my previous one. This is going to be further information from that, but it's not essential for you to have seen it, although I will leave links so you can if you want. That is why I'm wearing my kind of Ciel Phantom Hive Jack the Ripper wig. Technically this is the first wig that I've had that wasn't bought by me or my mum. This was actually bought for my 20th birthday by one of my best friends, so yeah. I've actually not had an opportunity to wear this yet, seeing as lockdown has happened and all that jazz, and well, there's been no Comic-Cons. On to my theory. In case you haven't watched the previous video, I'll just give you a gist of it. And that is that season 2 of Black Butler wasn't entirely just a completely new made-up story filler that was made because it had already caught up with the manga at the time. There's quite a few things that I mentioned in my previous video that kind of helps prove that opinion. But one of the things that I missed mentioning about in the previous video is how would Undertaker get hold of real Ciel's soul? I think that is actually pretty obvious. I don't think the real Ciel we are seeing now has essentially a real soul. I think he does have a real soul, but it's not what it used to be. I do not think it is the soul of real Ciel. What I think has happened is Undertaker, using his knowledge and easy accessibility to souls as a Reaper, has got hold of a soul and moulded it to become real Ciel by manipulating his memories and changing what actually happened to that boy. As an Undertaker, I think he got hold of real Ciel's body. Whether that was because he took the body away before he was actually buried, or he knew where he was buried so came back later on and essentially grave robbed. That is my theory. I think he got hold of a different person's soul altogether. Probably a young rich boy's soul. That unfortunately this young rich boy died, and because of their similar upbringings it would make it easier to manipulate and mould the memories. We've seen this in season 2 happen, where Alois's memories and Ciel's memories were kind of spliced together in Ciel's body. So we know that in the Black Butler universe that souls can be moved into another body. I think essentially real Ciel's body was brought back to life, like we've seen previously with the zombified living bodies in previous arcs. It also wouldn't be a surprise if Undertaker could get hold of Ciel's memories, because he may not be able to access real Ciel's soul, but there might be records of that life, of his memories.
Okay, so I wasn't being very clear here. I was talking about the cinematic records and the Undertaker's knowledge and understanding of filing and getting hold of them. He may not have the soul, but he may still have the cinematic records of real CL, and therefore could have potentially used them to manipulate and control the soul of the boy that he might have taken, in my theory. I hope that comes off clearer, because I certainly didn't make it very clear in the video without my editing foresight involved. Okay, back onto the video.
And we can see that when we find out about his book and his bookmarks and the way that he sorts through memories and souls as a reaper. I don't believe it would be especially hard for him to get hold of those images and implant it on the soul of this kid, or I think it's most likely a rich kid boy's soul, and implant that on top of it. So that covers how I think our Sebastian and things, how Sebastian managed to eat real CL soul, but how we've also got hold of this new real CL. I do not think they are the same soul. There was another thing that I missed out and didn't mention in my video, and that is to do with who Undertaker really is. Now then, I am absolutely 100% convinced that Undertaker is CL's grandfather on his paternal side. There have been several indications of this. For instance, when we've seen family trees and the way that the CL Phantom Hive family tree has been portrayed in the manga, we know that through memories and recollections and stuff that Vincent and Undertaker had a very close relationship. We often see Undertaker in the Phantom Hive household before he ever really, in fact before CL even existed. Again, at the very least he's been a family friend for a long time. It wouldn't surprise me if he was direct family. Furthermore, there's the, oh gosh, I got blank of a name, thanks. Memory fog. That memorial chain necklace with the pendants and things on it. We know that it's got CL's family in it.
I'm just adding a bit that I forgot yet again to mention while making the video, that now in editing I have realised I completely forgot. It's no secret in the manga that Undertaker and Vincent have a very close relationship. In several flashbacks and memories, we see them interacting on a pretty regular basis, even back to when Vincent was in school himself, as seen in this photo. Furthermore, it's undeniable that both Vincent and Undertaker share a lot of similar mannerisms, and are indeed actually very similar people. So why would Undertaker have such an interest in his life, other than the fact that Vincent will be involved with a lot of dead bodies? I think this can be best shown when he shows his absolute love and devotion to this locket and entrusts it to be taken care of by CL, claiming how important it is to him. Why would this memorial locket about the Phantom Hive family be so important to a completely unrelated man? We learn that in the locket, he actually possesses some of CL's grandmother's hair. Now, it would be a bit odd to be carrying around a complete stranger's DNA just on your possession. I think this again shows the importance of the locket to him and the importance of the Phantom Hive family. Undertaker also shows a great dissatisfaction with the fact that Vincent's body was literally burnt to ash, as is so often mentioned throughout the entire series. It means that Undertaker is unable to add Vincent to his Phantom Hive family memorial chain. This now leads me on to the topic of the Phantom Hive family tree. Now then, if CL was related to Undertaker, that means that part of his blood would be Reaper. He'd be part Reaper. Now, this actually has some substance to this theory, as CL is able to see Reapers when they aren't disguising themselves. Now, you could argue that's because CL already has 1 foot in the grave, seeing as he almost died and has made a deal with a demon. However, we can see that this shocks some Reapers, that our CL can actually see them, despite them being cloaked and hidden. They then look to his family tree, which we see in the manga. Now then, why would the Reapers make this connection if there wasn't indeed some sort of explanation hiding within the Phantom Hive bloodline? In fact, we find that CL isn't special in this ability at all. In fact, Lizzie, his fiancée, can also see Reapers when they're not in disguise. We might forget that because Lizzie is CL's fiancée, that she is actually related to him on his father's side. They are literally cousins, and unlike our CL, Lizzie doesn't have 1 foot in the grave, you could say. She is very much alive and has not been in a position where she has been so close to death. If, like many other manga readers, I am correct, that means we know what the Undertaker's name is. According to the Reaper's family tree, that would make the Undertaker's name Cedric, or at least in this life. I say this because we learn very early on that the Undertaker was well reputed in his field and had worked hard to work his way up to become an archivist, filing the cinematic records in the big library, as he could call it. This would definitely support the theory that CL has Reaper's blood within him, because for him to have Reaper's blood, that means that an ancestor must have been a Reaper, which means they must have died in a different life to become one in the first place. It is the lovely Grell that gives us this lovely little factoid, just in case you'd forgotten the whole Jack the Ripper case.
So that's a couple of things that I thought I'd add on to the second part of my theory. I think we will find out that this real CL soul isn't a real CL soul at all. I am absolutely convinced that's the soul that Sebastian ate when the contract was made. Because the contract was made, the seal was made. That exchange happened somewhere when the sacrifice was made. I don't see how there could have been any other way for Undertaker to get hold of that soul. On that note, I'll say toodle pip or beans, and see you next time. Bye! Oh, ow, I lost feeling in my feet.